Start on time. We're waiting for Speaker Pelosi. We're honored that she has found time to come and speak with us, and she has told us to go ahead and start because we have a hearing and things happening. So I'm going to start. I first want to thank so many friends and colleagues for joining me on this historic hearing to finally get women enshrined in the Constitution. A special thank you to Ellie Smeal, founder and president of the Feminist Majority, Carol Jenkins, president of the ERA Coalition, and a very special thank you to my colleagues in Congress, Jackie Spear, Brenda Lawrence, Lois Frank, all co-chairs of the Women's Caucus. Senator Ben Cardin is expected to be here, and the Honorable Jennifer McClellan from the great state of Virginia that was the last to ratify the Equal Rights Amendment. Since it was first introduced and passed by Congress, we have fought for equality of rights under the law. We have fought for this simple language to be included in our Constitution, the language of the Equal Rights Amendment, and I quote, "Equality of rights under the law shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or any state on account of sex. The U.S. Congress shall have the power to enforce by appropriate legislation the provisions of this article." It's very fair, straightforward, and I keep asking myself, why has it been 100 years that we've been fighting to get this in the Constitution? But we now finally have gotten the ERA ratified by 38 states, needed for adoption into the U.S. Constitution. And now it's time for the Archivist of the United States to do his part and certify the ERA as the law requires. That's why I have sent a letter to the Archivist, several, urging him to certify the ERA without delay. We are expecting and are honored to have the Speaker of the House coming to speak, but we're going to move forward because we have a robust set of speakers, and we will stop the minute that she can get here. So we are going to start with the head of the ERA Coalition, Carol Jenkins. She's the CEO and president, and she will be one of our witnesses today. Carol Jenkins.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Chair Maloney, for your astounding and stalwart leadership on the issue of equal rights in the United States of America. So many of us doing this work understand one thing, that the root of any sexism or racism that we are facing in this country now lies in the Constitution. That's the way it was written, and that is what has caused us problems throughout centuries. So until we amend the Constitution, until we fix it, we will continue to be doing repair work for the kinds of discrimination against so many populations, including women. It is time to enact the ERA. As Chair Maloney says, it is time for the archivist to publish it. Our children are waiting for this. We cannot go through another 100 years, and that's how long we've been waiting for this. We just cannot do it. We have to step up and say, our children, our women who are suffering with sexual abuse, paid inequity, all kinds of discrimination deserve better than this. And they can get better than this by enacting the Equal Rights Amendment. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you, Chair Maloney, for your leadership.
Thank you for yours. And we'll now hear from Ellie Smeal, the president and founder of the Feminist Majority, also a hearing witness, former president of NOW during many years of the fight for the ERA. Ellie Smeal, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Congresswoman Maloney, and thank you for your leadership. This is it. The ERA has been ratified by the necessary 38 states. We want immediately for the National Archivist to certify it. We have 6 generations of people who have fought for this amendment, and now there's no question that the overwhelming numbers of people in our own country, the polls were at over 74% right now, but we're frequently in the 80s and the 90s. There's consensus that women and gender equality should be ratified and in the Constitution, and it's needed. When we first started, I started my fight for this and our fight for this in 1971, over 50 years ago. And basically, when we started, one of the retorts of our opposition was, "You don't need it." Well, history has shown we do need it. And here we are in the 21st century, and we've gone through the courts got Title VII or Title IX, and then we have to restore it. We keep going back and forth. We want it settled once and for all so that people will not be cheated in pay, in Social Security, in sexual harassment cases. I could go on, so many areas. This is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and we should be eliminating domestic violence. The courts have weakened the Violence Against Women Act. The Equal Rights Amendment would make it stronger. We need it, and we want it, and we know that we have won.
Yes. All right.
Thank you.
My right arm.
Alyssa Milano is an actress, ERA advocate, writer, and she will be one of our hearing witnesses. She testified earlier at a shadow hearing that we had when we could not get a real hearing. Is the leader coming right now? Well, then we're gonna wait for Speaker Pelosi, if you don't mind. Here she comes.
I don't mind.
And I think that we should give her a standing ovation. It's a good thing that we're all. Yes. We are so honored to have the first woman Speaker of the United States Congress here with us today. We are so honored that she could find the time in her busy schedule to be with us. We know how important the Equal Rights Amendment is to her. The great Speaker, Nancy Pelosi.
Yes. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much, Carolyn, for your kind words, but more importantly, for your relentless, persistent leadership to ratify the Equal Rights Amendment. I'm honored to be here with you and so many champions on this: Carol Jenkins, Ellie Smeal, Lisa Milano, Jackie Spear, Bambi Salcido, Brenda Lawrence, Senator Jennifer McClellan, Lois Frank, Kim Russell, Christian Nunez, and Senator Ben Cardin on his way of Maryland. I named those names because this is a struggle, and it took work, and for a long time women have been working, not waiting, but working to get this done, and our allies as well. 50 years ago, the House passed the Equal Rights Amendment in a vote that was 354 to 24. 354 to 24, a strong bipartisan bill taking us to the cusp of the ratification. Now we have completed all of the states, putting us on the track to achieve constitutional equality for all, as these hearings have been aptly called. Again, we're pleased to be here with the tremendous leadership working on all of this. Carolyn Maloney, Jackie Spear, Brenda Lawrence, Lois Frank, they have been such champions in the Congress on all of this. But I think we would all agree that a day doesn't go by, that an opportunity is never missed for Carolyn Maloney to make this point. Yes. Thank you, Carolyn. And so, all the things we talk about, 100 years and 1 year after women have had the right to vote, we still do not have it, ERA, enshrined in the Constitution. Why not? What's the thing? So today, again, we take a step toward equality for women, progress for families, and a stronger America. Because as we believe, when women succeed, America succeeds. Thank you all very much.
Bravo. In recognition of his schedule, I'll now introduce the great Senator Ben Cardin, who is our champion in the Senate. Thank you, Ben. Thank you.
Oh, Carolyn, first of all, thank you so much. It's so great to be here with my colleagues. Madam Speaker, it's always an honor to be with you. There's no time limit on equality. we're well past time to get the ERA ratified in our Constitution. 38 states have ratified the Equal Rights Amendment. In the Senate, I'm working with Senator Murkowski. It's bipartisan in the Senate. We want to get it done now. From 1972, we've been working on the Equal Rights Amendment. It's well past time. No more excuses. Let's get it done. I'm honored to join my colleagues that are with us today. We're here to speak up for equality. Women's rights are human rights. We got to get it done now. Thank you.
Bravo, bravo, bravo. Melissa Milano.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, so much for being here. I just want to take a moment to recognize how historic this is. And for me personally, to be here amongst so many of my heroes, it just means the world to me. And I just want to say that in 2021, I still don't have equality under the Constitution. But today we are taking an important step forward with these incredible activists and witnesses who will be testifying under the incredible leadership of Congresswoman Maloney. So I think it is time for the Constitution to reflect the first three words: we the people, not we the men, we the people. Well, I'll share a few words about why the ERA matters. It's important to know that the hearing today is not a debate about the ERA. The debate is over. We won. Enough states have ratified the ERA to make it part of the Constitution. Equality is not an issue of party. It is not an issue of politics. It is an issue of human dignity. The Equal Rights Amendment is a powerful and simple statement. We are all equal. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Jackie Spear is one of the co-chairs of the Women's Caucus, the Democratic Women's Caucus. She's a member of the committee and the author of H.R. 17, which we passed in the House and are now trying to pass in the Senate, removing the time limit. Jackie, thank you for your leadership.
Thank you. Thank you, Carolyn. Let me say, sister, how wonderful it is to be in the war with you, because you have my back and I have your back. Thank you for the leadership. And this is the first full committee hearing in 40 years on the Equal Rights Amendments, thanks to Carolyn Maloney, our chair. And these are the sheroes of the modern day suffragettes. These are the women who have made it their 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week commitment to get women into the Constitution. It was intentional at the founding of our country to not put the word woman into the Constitution. The only way we got one reference to women in the Constitution was with an amendment to give us the right to vote that took 70 years to get into the Constitution. So we are here today to say 100 years is enough. We want 52 little words in the Constitution that most industrialized countries in the world have already put in their Constitution. We want it in the US Constitution. I keep feeling such shame that we have these Olympic gymnasts, these soccer players that are being discriminated against. And I believe strongly that if it was in the Constitution to have the ERA, that the discrimination that they have endured would be over. So we're saying to the White House and we're saying to the Department of Justice, it is time to rescind the reckless political opinion by the Trump administration. And if you rescind that, the archivist will be in the position to enroll the 28th Amendment to the Constitution and put ERA into the Constitution of the United States. Thank you.
Victoria Norse, law professor at Georgetown University, one of our panelists today.
Thank you very much, Chairman Maloney, for all your work. You are a relentless advocate. All I want to add to these statements is that I'm an expert on the Constitution, and we've got a new Supreme Court in town. And that new Supreme Court has a judicial philosophy that does not include women. Justice Scalia famously said that women are not in the 14th Amendment. So this is not about some of the more, controversial questions here about abortion and things like that. This is about the basic right to equality in the Constitution. Up for grabs with this court, in my opinion, are almost all of the 1970s decisions that women take for granted. Thank you.
Wow. Another co-chair of the Women's Caucus, Ms. Brenda Lawrence. She's a member of the committee, and we're so proud that she's with us today.
Thank you so much, Chairwoman. It's a pleasure to be here today. It's always amazing to see the women in leadership in our Congress. I serve as the co-chair of the Democratic Women's Caucus, and I firmly believe that the soul and the moral compass of this country rests on the shoulders of women. We just went through a pandemic, and we witnessed firsthand how women stood up, stepped up, and made sure that this country survived a pandemic. Women traditionally have done the work. We deserve the respect and the law to include us. This is not asking for a favor. This is something that we have worked for and deserve. I'm from the east side of Detroit, and I proudly represent the historic history of a city that understands the hard work. And I was raised by a family that told the women in our family, there is nothing that you can't do. If you work hard, the sky's the limit. Not because you're a boy, not because you're a man, not because you're a woman, but because you are equal. We need to ensure that men and women are treated equally under the law right now. As our senator said, now is the time. We can't accept this status quo. And in 2021, I can't believe we're having this discussion still. And so we let it finally be the time to remove this time limit and ratify the Equal Rights Amendment. And I have been quoting my dear friend, Aretha Franklin, God bless her, who constantly reminded women that all they need is a little respect. And I'm telling you, we want respect. And we will make sure that we continue to fight. And my closing remark is, it is the greatest compliment in life when you can walk in the shadows of greatness. And I know that I am in the shadow of so many women that stood before me and fought and still fighting, and that collectively we can get this done. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Brenda. Our next speaker is another panelist, Bambi Salcido, president of Trans Latin Coalition, and one of our witnesses today. Thank you so much.
Primero que nada, quiero dar gracias a mi Creador y a mi Poder Superior por darme la oportunidad de estar con vida un día más. También quiero honrar la tierra en la cual estamos aquí hoy en día y pedir permiso a la gente de Nachcotán y Pescataway que me permitan decir estas palabras en su tierra. Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be present here at this historic event. My name is Bambi Salcido, and I am a very privileged trans Latina mujer inmigrante who has been included and to take part in this historic event. I am here representing one of the most marginalized people who walk in this country. And as a trans woman, I want for us to be included in the Constitution. And the Equal Rights Amendment will do just that. It will include all of us. It includes people like me, trans people, poor people, indigenous people, Black people, women, of course, because nothing happens without women. Women are the core of all of our existence. And so I'm so grateful that I get to be acknowledged today as the woman that I am, that I get to participate in this event. And thank you so much to to Carol Jenkins, who is the president and CEO of the Equal Rights Amendment Coalition. And thank you so much to everybody who invited me to be part of this. I appreciate your presence. Thank you so much.
And the Honorable Jennifer McClellan from Virginia State Senator. She is one of our hearing witnesses and helped lead the great victory in Virginia ratifying the 38th state.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you all. I am here because for over 400 years in our country, since its very founding, Black women and women of color have been fighting for freedom and equality. I'm here as the daughter, granddaughter, great-granddaughter, and probably more of women and men who fought to be equal for freedom and equality. I'm here as a mother who does not want to leave that fight to my son Jackson and my daughter Samantha. And I'm here as a legislator who led Virginia to be the 38th state to ratify the Equal Rights Amendment.
Bravo.
Thank you.
I am here standing over the shoulders of so many women who allowed me to be here today to say it is time. It is past time for equality and for the ERA to be added to the Constitution. Thank you all very much.
Thank you for your great victory. Ms. Kim Russell, Director of Campaigns, Women's March Coalition Partner.
Hi, thanks everyone. I am so grateful and proud to be here today, standing among so many advocates, activists, allies, and rallying with women from all walks of life and all kinds of experiences. I'm especially proud to be here today because I'm the mother of a 15-year-old daughter. And that's who needs the Equal Rights Amendment most. It's women from all walks of life and all kinds of experiences, and our children. Back when the ERA was first introduced in 1923, you could say it was a fringe issue, and women's rights as a whole were not considered back then. But fortunately today, that is far from the truth. A whopping 94% of Americans support the ERA because we all know that equality of women is the key to advancement of our country. Now, I'm here from the Women's March, so I can't stand up here and not talk about the thing that's under attack that allows women of every ethnicity, every class, every religion, and yes, every political party to equal lives. And that's the right to control our bodies and the right to an abortion. Now, we've got a big fight ahead, and we need to work to codify the right to an abortion into federal law. But women's equality is about far more than just abortion. The ERA is about far more than abortion. If ratified, the amendment would fundamentally transform the lives and livelihoods of every single woman in this country. And just like the women fighting for it, the effects of the ERA would be intersectional. It would help keep women safe from sexual harassment. It would help keep us safe from home domestic violence. It would help us get equal pay for equal work. It would protect us from discrimination when we apply for that work in the first place. And it would ensure that the childcare we need to get that work done is actually recognized as work, which is a necessity in the 21st century workplace. Now, especially during this pandemic that has decimated working women and triggered a she session in the process, the ERA is needed now more than ever. It's not just women who are relying on it, but our entire economy and our entire country. 98 years after the ERA was first proposed, it's long past time to turn its words into reality. This fight is too important to wait another day, and there is no time limit on equality. Thank you.
Thank you. We've been joined by the president of the National Organization of Women, Ms. Christian Nunez. She's one of our coalition partners, now led the fight in the 1970s and is leading the fight and helping lead the fight today. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much for all your work. Great to see you.
Thank you. It is a pleasure to be here this morning. And I'm so excited to join all the coalition partners who've been doing great work to move forward and finally get the ERA as added to our Constitution. Today, we are really talking about legacy. And I want to just quickly talk about why it's so important that we continue this fight and actually get it to move forward. I'm going to just talk quickly about legacy and some of the great people who've been part of this legacy. And I want to just highlight one of the important people of the movement, Paulie Moyer. And Paulie Moyer is a co-founder of NOW, and she inspires so many of us. In 1970, built a strategy for empowerment of women when she, and even Ruth Bader Ginsburg cited her when her amicus brief when she helped move forward, women's sex victims under the case of sex victims discrimination. But Murray argued back in that day in September 1970 the importance of sex discrimination and the race discrimination. And when we talk about the ERA today, we have to recognize that we cannot have true equality. We cannot have true protections if we do not have the Equal Rights Amendment. So in her testimony, she said, my parents were born during the Reconstruction era. My grandmother was born in slavery, the product of rape by a white master of a slave. And according to American legal order, beginning with the ideas of blacks were inherently unequal, and they were inferior to whites, and women were inferior to men. So if we think of this now, we have to think about where are we now in our legacy? What are we teaching our women right now when we are still struggling to get the ERA and women protected in our equality and in our Constitution? So as we go forward, this is why we're here. It's important that we finally take the last step to finally make women equal and protected under the law. What legacy are we going to leave? And that's all I wanted to say. And I hope that we're leaving the right legacy for our women, our daughters, and our children. Thank you.
Our last speaker is Lois Frank, co-chair of the Women's Caucus. Thank you so much for your leadership.
Thank you. Just great to be with all these warriors, heroes. I want to say we got Marilyn Strickland joined us and our Virginians, Abigail Spanberger and Jennifer Wexton. Thanks. Yeah, okay. So, Jennifer, let's see, Abigail has 3 daughters, right? 3 beautiful daughters. And I have 2 adorable grandsons. And I know we're all committed for them to grow up in a country where they all are treated with the dignity and the rights that they deserve, right? Okay, so I asked just to close because there was so many articulate words that I'm just going to adopt by reference today. But I want to say and thank Virginia. You did ratify this amendment. The ERA has been ratified, and in its honor, I'm going to just modify part of a poem written by Maya Angelou. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I have risen. Oh, guess that doesn't rhyme. I rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? Because I walk like I had got oil wells pumping in my living room, just like moons and like suns with the certainty of tides, just like the hope springing high. Still, I have risen. Thank you.
Thank you. I tried. That concludes our press conference today, and we need to get to our hearing. So thank you very much.
Good job.
Thank you so much.
Good job.
They're available for private interviews.
Yes, Virginia.